Hello everyone and welcome back to another series. That's right, we've got a return flight ticket because we're back. Get ready for it. Down Under. Ugh.
I thought you weren't going to do that. I genuinely, I didn't mention it before we started recording.
I didn't think I was going to do it, but I did it.
It just came to you, did it?
It did.
I thought, no, he won't do it. He made such a fool of himself the last time. But no, here it is. Live and to everyone to hear. Ben just did his Australian impression.
That's right. We are back Down Under, which if you didn't guess is for the Australian Traitors. This is our second series coverage.
Oh yeah.
So we get to see all the changes. Roger's changes.
Roger's changed as well. Everyone. Roger's become a cartoon. I said he's become a cartoon. He's become a bit too over familiar now. Like, we liked him being a bit nervous, breathing heavily, choosing traitors. This series, he's like everyone's best friend, making jokes.
Not our best friend.
19 future podcasts no one ever asked for.
Yes. Sorry, Roger. I felt vindicated. I felt attacked. Yeah, by
Roger and his tight
by
trousers.
Roger. Yeah, like
I think I didn't notice them, Roger. Your tight trousers.
His jodhpurs. When they was jodhpurs, he was wearing it for his.
No.
He was ready to go horse riding, but then he just burnt horses. I wouldn't want to be in his stables. Roger's stables.
Roger's got a butler now.
Yes.
Who handed him a horn.
Roger's butler. We need a name for Roger's
horn.
Butler. Well, he blew his horn, didn't he?
Yes, he did all over.
But sadly, it didn't make the correct noise, so he handed his horn back to the butler.
Slapped him around the head.
Yeah.
And pushed him off back to the cellar.
We need a name for his butler.
Maybe it's Fergus, the same as the Australian, the
No,
American one.
we need something more original. I think it's Paul. I think his butler's name is Paul.
Doesn't say anything.
Doesn't say anything. Stands in the corner. Just grins.
The enigma.
Looks typically Australian, but actually isn't Australian. That's our Paul. We miss you, Paul. We miss you. We wanted you back in series 2.
It's nice to have Roger back, though, so we're all happy for that.
Well, that's what we need in this world today. You know, there's so much danger and troubles in this world. We need continuity and we need a good Rogering. Yeah, we need Roger Corser back. We love him. It's so great. And
19 future podcasts no one ever asked for.
Sorry, Roger. God. And it was nice.
We're back.
It was nice for the build-up as well for the second series of Australian Traitors, because they really did use Roger for a lot of photo shoots, playing Paul, self-portrait, going for a dip. I don't know.
He's got his own portrait now.
Yep, hanging over the fireplace.
Do you think his contract for series 2 was way more expensive, so they're making him do loads of stuff now? Because he's doing bits to camera. He's got a script to learn.
Well, no, he's doing more commentary during the game,
that's
isn't
what I mean.
But he did used to do in series 1, don't forget. He used to kind of keep the viewer updated of how the game was going.
Getting a bit cocky now.
But now he does it to camera. Instead of it like off camera, he's kind of doing it directly at the camera as the chaos is happening behind him. At one point, when they were playing the game with the Trojan horses, one moment he was like saying something to the camera and you just saw this... It did make me laugh. You just saw this horse behind him going past, set on fire, going toward the gate. I thought,
everything's
series
okay
2,
here.
We're okay here. We're settling into series 2 of the Australian Traitors.
I mean, I don't know if we've introduced ourselves yet. I'm Ben. I am, of course, still faithful.
Yes.
I've yet to be gripped on my shoulder by Roger with my eyes closed in the dark, in a dark room with a blindfold over my face.
He's yet to rub his horn down your cheek.
That's all I ask for, Roger.
Oh, please, Roger. We know you don't
tap my shoulder.
Oh, I'm Alex. Mm-hmm. But again, I've not been touched by Roger, but it's really touched you. But I'm also a faithful, unless, of course, I'm a bit more easily persuaded than you are, as we've had in the past. Hello to anyone, because we're doing this as soon as to broadcast of the series, so
we need to get that reach.
Unlike series 1 of the Australian Traitors, where we had it once it got released in the UK, where we've got the means. Fingers crossed forever of being able to watch it as it's broadcast or close to broadcast. So it's hello to any new listeners. I'm not going to do Down Under. Who's listening to this for the first time? Thank you.
We've got such
welcome.
a reach now of our audience. We've got New Zealand listeners,
Australia, America,
England.
I wonder if anyone is
Canada. They're just everywhere.
I wonder if anyone else in Europe is watching us as well.
I hope so. I'll have to look at the stats.
Or indeed Australasia. Is that?
Well, it's got it on the stats, but I can't bother to open it up. But yes, so we are here. So we've got a whole new cast of lovely characters.
Yes. Right. Well, are we going to dig into some of the standout ones?
I mean, a lot happened on this episode.
Right. But
It was all very odd. But anyway, sorry, what were you saying?
I was going to say, we normally talk about like the characters that have already stood out for us.
Yeah, but
Like
we
the ones-
also have to remember
Right.
the first murdered.
Well, we can't do that until we've talked about some of the
They
characters.
always get forgotten, don't they?
Because we need
So
to
I
talk
feel
about
sorry
the
for them.
characters, and we need to.
Okay.
But we haven't had a murder yet. This is what I'm saying. We've only just. They're all stood at the bus stop waiting. For
Yeah,
the
they
bus
got
to
buses
come.
and trains, didn't they?
This year they got transported by a bus. Yeah.
Some of them don't know how to use luggage. Just dragging it through stones sideways.
I mean, it was stones, so the wheels probably wouldn't work, would they? Let's be honest. Wasn't
They
that
clearly-
Annabelle? Annabelle.
I
Who's
think it
watched
was Ash, wasn't it?
Was it Ash? I thought it was Annabelle.
Annabelle did something else, I think.
Well, the standout thing about Annabelle is that she has watched and listened
Yes.
to every single series of the English-speaking version.
Just like us.
Just like us. She's our
Hi.
kindred spirit. Annabelle, why are you not doing this podcast with us? But she's probably listened to this podcast.
Well, that's where we're going to go.
Fingers
So
crossed,
every
Annabelle.
episode for this series, we are going to go.
I have listened to every podcast that even briefly mentions the Traitors.
Evening, Annabelle. Yes, I stole that from Anson Deck, but no one knows. Right.
they won't know who Anna Deck is in Australia.
Good. So yes, evening,
Wow.
Annabelle. I hear you're listening. So yes, we've got a few people to go through. We've got a mix of celebs, allegedly, and civilians, allegedly. I don't recognise any of them. Not
Well, you
even
won't know
not even the
citizens.
world famous actor
But
who's won awards.
You're quite right to say allegedly, to be fair, because one of the characters, Ellis... Characters, yeah, one of the cast
members.
Ellis, I think I'm saying that right.
Yes.
He is a social media influencer. So in his mind, is he classified as a celebrity?
Oh,
or is
is
he
he one of the
classified as a
celebs?
citizen? What one is he? Because I think a lot of social media moguls would like to see themselves as celebrities. Would we, if we were to go on this on the Traitors, for instance, we're
He's got an office job.
Oh, what's his office job? Doing social media?
I don't know. He deals with complaints a lot in his office job. So he's not he's not counted as a celebrity. That's what I was saying. This
so
is
he's
why
not a celebrity.
fantastic fact file, everyone.
But this is my, well, yes.
Sorry, carry on.
We'll delve into Ben's fact file in a minute, which he's assured me is much better than the New Zealand one. Yes, I mean, like, it's just fine. I'm not saying we're famous, but I don't know how. But what I'm saying is that we're probably known within a Traitors community,
Especially by Annabelle.
especially by Annabelle. So if we were going on the Traitors, would we be classified as a celebrity, or would we be classified as a civilian?
Civilian.
Okay, there you
Unless
go.
it's your full-time job.
It is.
Well, true. Podcasting. This podcast is our full-time job, everyone.
I know. Spend too much time doing this.
Unpaid,
podcast.
unloved.
Well,
Everyone looks like they want to die.
That's this studio right now.
we'll talk about ways people can get in touch with us and maybe help with the podcast at the end of the show.
Yeah, Roger,
as well.
we need a silver bar.
Roger. Roger won't be able to help us though because he's got won no awards.
That's true.
However, we
He's
have an
only
actor
nominated.
on the show who has won awards,
Allegedly.
and that's Guyton. Guyton.
You must say Gayton.
I was going to say Gayton.
Guyton.
Guyton. He's in a well-known Australian TV series.
Yeah, one of the best in Australia, apparently. So,
Why has it not come over here?
I've never heard of him.
We get great Australian dramas over here. We got we got Wentworth. We got what's that? The Broadcaster. That excellent series.
Oh yeah, was it
The
the
Newsreader.
Newsroom?
The
Yeah,
Newsroom,
that's really good.
Newsreader. We've had brilliant programs sent over here. So why can't we get Guyton's TV show? But straight out the bat, people are beginning to suspect him because he is an actor, and so because he can act. Award-winning, more than what Roger is. Poor Roger. When they were talking about his awards, and he was kind of stood in the background, kind of like looking on, looking a bit sad.
He made a joke. He said it was
It's nice to be nominated.
Yeah, he'll get his award. He'll get his Traitors Award.
Well, we
The
could
best
do.
presenter.
Well, we could do a Traitors Awards.
19 future podcasts no one ever asked for.
To be fair, that's what podcasts do when they run out of ideas, isn't it? They do an
Also,
awards.
Roger doesn't deserve an award after his slander against us. So the contestants all met up at the motel hotel. Split into two teams. So we don't just have red tracksuits now. We have red and blue tracksuits.
I feel like you don't want to talk about any of the people on the show.
Sorry, what do you want to
Well, I don't
talk
know.
about?
It's like we've got loads of people.
Yes,
who
they'll
need to
come
kind
up in flow.
Will they though?
Yes.
Because in the game, no one really stood out, did they?
Yes, I
Right.
have favourites. My favourite was Corinne, and she's gone. So that annoyed me.
Well, there you go.
My favourite old
You've just
woman.
revealed the very first banishment, so there was no need for that.
I didn't say
either.
banishment. I said gone.
Well, yeah, but we know that there's been 3 people. Well, there will be 3, or there
It's
would
not a
have been 3.
secret
at the
because
end.
people watch the episode to listen to this.
Maybe
podcast.
people don't want to watch the episode and they just want to hear us tell them about the episode. I
I've
wouldn't
gone
blame
through a
them.
transformation with Ash. I didn't like Ash to begin with. Now I like her.
She looks like Kath from Kath and Kim. I know I always reference Kath and Kim.
She's just like the woman from Coronation Street who has like 8 children a bit in that picture, in her promo picture.
I get where you're coming from with the orange.
Wow. Rude. Okay, so what contestants do you want to talk about then? Come on.
No, I don't.
No.
I'm not fussed. It's just that I feel like the whole premise of the Traitors is that it's about the contestants, and you're just pushing them aside.
I'm not,
We've
but
spent
it's a
10 minutes
mix.
talking about Roger, and now you want to talk about the game. It's like that's all you care about. You're shallow.
No, I was just
all
saying
you
that-
want is Roger on screen 24/7.
Well,
He's like
going
the
to wear those
Hypnotoad.
trousers.
Hypnotoad from Futurama. You just want him
If he's
looking
going
at
to
you.
tease us with those trousers, that's what's going to happen. I was just going to say that they were split into 2 teams, which is different.
They were, and they went
teams
to,
of 10 and 10,
and they went to Mount Traitorous.
which was a hill.
Yeah, it was hardly a mountain, was it? He was
Roger
overcompensating.
making mountains out of molehills, I see.
Oh.
Typical
Where's the
of him.
dum-tsh on your soundboard?
Just a second, everyone.
Do you want to make the joke again before you? There you go. Do you want to make the joke before you play
No.
it? No, just like the delay.
It's better that way.
Okay. Yes. So there's 2 teams, and the reason for there being 2 teams wasn't because they could win 2 amounts of money, which technically they did.
It's not The Biggest Loser, Australia.
Even though that was referenced, which again is a wonderful series, but
It is.
but
Very toxic.
But I was going to say quite a toxic series, and maybe
This is the new version of Biggest Loser, basically, isn't it?
Well,
The Traitors.
well, it's probably for the best that they're not pointing people and kind of going,
exactly.
yeah, you're a bit overweight.
It's the best of both worlds now.
It is Hannah Montana. It's because they've split the teams into 2 because now that the winning team of presumably each game will get the chance to go into the armory. This is something that they've done in
yes.
other series, and they can get the Shield of Protection. And with the Shield of
From
Protection,
Roger's family.
yep, that means that they cannot get murdered in the evening. And again, it's up to them whether they want to tell the team who's got it. Obviously, the right tactic is not to tell anyone, because then that whole team, those people that are all had the chance to go to the armory, are all pretty much safe from getting murdered. Because
Which would be half of the people as well.
yep,
50%.
why would a traitor risk murdering someone who has the Shield of Immunity? So you're going to have to go for the opposite side. Although, having said that, for the person
They
who got
didn't.
murdered,
Yeah.
they went for the person who was on the team, didn't they?
Yeah, I wonder if that was... Maybe they did reveal it. They didn't show on screen, maybe.
Well, all the traitors didn't realise.
Okay.
They're just like, yeah, we'll just give it a go. But I felt sorry for the one who was murdered. Can I talk about one of the cast
Yes,
members?
Angelica,
Okay,
yes,
and
of course.
Angelica. I mean, there's not much to talk about with her. She was a lawyer, so she thought she would.
Was.
Well, she's now dead. In my eyes and to the world. She was a lawyer, and she felt that would put her in good stead for being able to lie to people. I've also noticed that they all want to be traitors this time round. Like in the first series, a few felt like they wanted to be traitors, a few felt like they didn't want to be traitors. This time, everyone wants to be a
I
traitor.
think people know if you're a traitor, you can last a bit longer. You haven't got the murder side of things to worry about at night time.
That's true, but you've also got the backstabbing, and that's tricky. I used to think that the traitor was an easier role, but actually I don't think it is any
Yeah,
easier.
but it's easier to last longer.
It's the
'cause
most fun.
Look at Angelica. Gone. Day one.
Yeah, but you could have said that about anyone.
Yeah, but that's what that's
Just
the
throw a
risk.
dart at the board.
If you're a traitor, you're not gone day one. At least.
I suppose you're right there. Is you stay in, and always the first person's always the first one to be forgotten.
Did you know that Angelica lives her life as a corporate lawyer by day, but
As a candle in the wind in the evening.
competes in beauty pageants in her free time?
Oh, does she?
Yep.
Oh, that's good for Angelica.
Angelica currently holds the title of Miss International Australia.
Oh, well, that was surprising. She kept that one quiet. They didn't.
No,
even-
she didn't have
they-
a chance to talk, did she?
No, I wonder why she was keeping that hidden. Because that would have been quite interesting. I think that might have helped her kind of blossom and bloom a little bit more, and maybe maybe not had her eliminated quite so quickly. They seemed to go for the one they thought was a kind of an easy target, didn't they? A bit random, but also a bit...
She's like the perfect one, wasn't she, for that?
A bit dull, a bit boring, so she was easy to get rid of.
Guess what? At work, her colleagues have 2 nicknames for her. The first is the Smiling Assassin for her courtroom demur. What do you think the second one could be?
Bitch.
The Bitch.
Is it actually?
No. It's the Rainmaker for her ability to
pissing
win
in the
cases.
office.
Pissing herself
Randomly
in court.
in the cork bin.
No, for her ability at winning cases and bringing in the money.
Oh, I see.
So that's what she's going to do when she goes into the Traitors Australia.
When she goes to Australia for her day.
So there you go. That was Angelica's plan.
Did she bring in the money? I suppose she did. She won half the prize money.
Not for herself.
40,000 Australian dollars. They were already... The prize
Not
money...
very quick.
Well, I felt like the game was easier this time. Because we
Too much
criticised...
time.
Last series, we criticised saying that the games were incredibly complicated and incredibly difficult. This time, it was like pull a horse up a hill and...
I mean, they did have lots of
light it on
steps.
fire.
Like, then he had to then chop the rope.
That cracked me
Before
up.
we move on from Angelica, because it's the only time we're ever going to talk about her, she was going to spend the prize money. If she won, she was going to give it to her mum. So there you go. Round of applause.
What would her mum have done with it?
Giving it to her.
I gift it back to you, Angelica. Blake missed the rope because he wiggled his ass and then swung the axe and then missed the rope completely.
Yes.
But then again, I'm not one to judge because we went axe throwing once. Do you remember that?
I do.
And I didn't once hit the target.
No, he even gave you an extra couple of goes, didn't he?
He felt sorry for me. I would not play well on the Traitors.
No, you'd be voted out.
I'd be awful.
Murdered.
I would be voted out. I'd be murdered
Losing
first
money,
round.
that's the
I'd
most
be
important
Angelica. And then you'd talk about me in a fact file.
Because it's the only time.
Alice's nickname is Dickhead because he's a twat. No. So thank you, Angelica. Thank you for joining us for this brief moment. But unfortunately, you are now gone. But that really, Angelica's exit wasn't the big talking point at the breakfast table. It was more the fact that there had been a lot of talk the night before by Sarah. Sarah...
I like Sarah, by the way. I'll put that on record.
Well,
on
I wouldn't
1.
hope for her to stay for long. Sarah, who is a clinical psychotherapist, and she can tell a liar, but she also likes to talk a lot. She's going here, there, and everywhere, talking about. And
She's only reporting back what she heard.
Well, this is it, but she heard it differently to how it was apparently or claimed to be said by Payden. So Payden. Apparently, after Roger had gone round the circle, tapped people's shoulders, he said to Sarah, allegedly said to Sarah, he hung around you, me, and who was the other one? It was Ellis.
Yeah.
You, me, and Ellis, because they're all sat in the same area. They're all 3 of them are together at the round table for a really, really long time. And I find that really suspicious. And he didn't tap my shoulder. And Sarah's like, well, he didn't tap mine. So he immediately, he presumed that maybe he did touch Ellis's.
Yeah.
This sent Sarah then shared that news with Ellis. So stirring the pot a little
Saying
bit.
that he thinks you're a traitor.
Yeah, that basically Payden thinks that you're a traitor.
Payden said he didn't say that. But Sarah says he did say that.
No, Payden said he didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Payden said that he did say it, but not like that. He just said that Roger was hanging around them for a really long time. But then Sam got earshot of this with... we haven't said who the traitors are. Sam, Ash and Blake are the 3 traitors.
They were picked, yes.
And they got earshot of this and they all really started stirring the pot. Like they went around the whole group and started saying, oh, have you heard what Sarah said? Oh, have you seen what they... Do you reckon Payden's a traitor? Oh, really, really stirred the pot, which kind of saved them in a weird way from getting murdered on the first night, which is why they chose a random Angelica instead. But at the same time, they kind of relished the thought and the fact that they were basically kind of... Because Sarah had started this rumour, she's kind of almost written her own exit from the show. And
she's still here.
She's still here. But that's because at the round table, and Annabelle, our number 1 fan, decided...
I like Annabelle.
We love Annabelle. Hi, Annabelle. How are you? Annabelle kind of threw out another theory, which was that Corinne, also one of your favourites,
Yeah.
was very quiet and
She
not
was.
really getting involved and participating.
She had a
And we
bad
know,
edit.
and we like Paul, and we know that that's a really, really tricky spot to get yourself into. You need to be. It's so difficult. It's a fine line. You need to be vocal and very brash and very open and very brave and give out your opinions and your thoughts, but at the same time, not too open that people start thinking that you're deliberately trying to throw out ideas. So you'll kind of swerve it away from yourself. You need to almost be like Switzerland. You need to be neutral, but also kind of just.
You need to be like really extreme, like which makes yourself safe because they don't want to kill you because you're going to point towards other people.
No, you don't want to be too extreme. You don't want to be too far one way and don't want to be too far the other. You want to be in the middle. If you go too far the other way, people get annoyed with you. Look at who was the one in Australian Series 1, the one who's the real estate agent, and he just kept saying, I know who the traitor is.
Mark.
Was it Mark? Yeah. He was too extreme and people got bothered with him, and so they got rid of him.
Yeah, but it gives you a few extra days of life, I think.
True, but I think Ellis kind of went too far and people started suspecting him. And Ellis also made the grave mistake of throwing out a name at the round table of someone, Gaiden, who everyone actually kind of likes. And I get the impression that people never really suspected him at all.
No, it's a bit
And you could
random,
tell
isn't it?
Ellis kind of felt a little bit like, ooh, I put myself in a corner here. And also I think he felt a little bit disrespected a little bit because he kind of did that really mocking clap when Gaiden said award-winning actor, and like everyone was like, "Hey, Gaiden, you're a man, you're a man, you're the man, yeah, you're really funny." And Ellis kind of just sat there and gave kind of a really droll look, and then just clapped onto the palm of his hand like that. And it's like, oh, you've got upset there because people aren't paying you attention. Again, maybe a trait of Ellis is that because he's a social media kind of influencer, he likes people paying him attention, and where people aren't kind of like in awe of him and completely bedazzled by him, he's kind of not liking it very much. Again, kind of putting him in a very tricky situation when it comes to voting for the round table. So there you go. That's what happened.
Someone's got it in for Elias.
No, I haven't. I like Ellis. I like Ellis actually. I particularly like his shower shots.
Yeah, he had slow motion shower toplessness.
And I like how he looks in his Adidas trousers aren't falling down because his bottom is quite well built.
All right.
Well, I'm just saying, I've got
that's
nothing.
why he's an influencer.
I've not got it in for Ellis at all. I'm just saying what I see. And like I said, like we always say at the top of the podcast, we only talk about them on the show. Outside the show, they could be the nicest person in the world, they could be the worst person in the world, but on the show we talk about their game and their tactics. So it's nothing against Ellis at all. It's just something I spotted when I was watching the episode. Is there anything you spotted, Ben? Or would you like to do some of their fact file?
We got two. What VTs did we get? We got two people's VTs.
We got Blake
didn't we?
and we got Sam. Blake being a hipster beer salesman.
Yes.
And Sam, who is a marketing consultant.
/ farmer secretly, kind of.
Yeah.
Well, that's his
I
cover
don't know why
at the
he's
moment.
He's saying he's a farmer.
He's saying he's a farmer, not the other
Right,
thing.
okay.
Right, so who do you want to do first then? Blake?
Can do Blake if you
He's
want.
kind of the character from it's that Seth Rogen plays in Platonic, kind of, isn't he?
I got that impression too.
Mixed with Jack Black.
Well, because of the beard.
He just looks a bit like Jack Black, doesn't he, from School of Rock in that one photo I'm looking at?
I thought he looked like the guy who won Interior Design Masters, who's
the
also
Scottish
Australian.
guy.
He's not Scottish, but he lives in Scotland now.
Yeah. Well, the other woman looks like the host from that show as well. Sarah looks like the judge. So that's all very confusing. On Scotland's Home of the Year, which is a very niche show that no one will know.
No one will know what the heck we're talking about there. No.
In everyday life, Blake works as a beer salesman in Victoria and loves playing board games in his spare time. Now he's hoping that his sales skills, board game strategy, and happy-go-lucky personality will work for him on the Traitors Australia.
We had a board game player on the UK Series 1 version. And he...
Irvin, who's got a podcast.
He's
No. 3 of the people from there have a podcast,
Yeah,
actually.
so-
19 future podcasts no one ever asked for.
There you go. So Roger was right. It is... He didn't do particularly well, and he got quite hurt when like people kind of questioned
too
his
good.
theories. No, I don't remember him particularly hitting the
I
target.
think that's
very
why they
much.
got rid of him, though, because he had potential. But Blake's a traitor, so...
Well, as a traitor then, and a game player, someone who plays games, do you think that kind of puts him in a stronger position because he plays, so he knows how to deal with like situations where he might be a bit unstuck or can get himself out of it. Do you think they chose the right person making him a traitor?
I think he's a good one because he's one that you may not suspect. Like the other, is her name Ash? Yes, Ash. I'm learning names already. Ash, I think you could probably think, oh, the producers may pick her. I don't think she's very sly with the way she's reacting to things. Whereas Blake, I think he can be one of those traitors that kind of just bubbles along and no one really suspects him.
Blake's the one who I think is going to play the best at being a traitor, but he's also the one that I fear is going to be easily set upon by
backstabbed
by Sam and Ash, because I think Sam particularly, first of all, when Sam got picked and he started doing like pistols with his fingers, I
know.
instantly thought, oh, Sam,
for a bit too long as well, because like people could probably like feel him moving around like next to them. I'm surprised that didn't come up rather than Roger standing somewhere for too long.
And also Sam keeps looking at the camera as well. Every time he says something, he kind of looks at the camera.
They try to edit out quickly, but they never catch it.
Yeah,
Right?
it's like an episode of The Office, you know? It's like he's constantly constantly trying to like look for verification from the producers that he's done something a bit naughty. So of them, I'm hoping Sam's the one who gets caught out first. But I think I really do think Blake's going to be backstabbed. And also when it came to the votes at the round table, he was the one who bucked the trend. Both Ash and Sam voted for Sarah, but Blake voted for Corinne.
Well, you're slagging off Sam. Well, guess what?
I'm not slagging him off.
In 2019, he spent 40 days volunteering as a firefighter to help fight the bushfires alongside his father and brother. So I hope you feel good about yourself. Also, during that time, the trio raised £63,000 for the Wildlife Centre.
You can say 63,000
so poor
children.
Sam.
No, good for Sam. I've got no problem with Sam. I don't say I judge people on the show by the game they're playing.
He has actually said he may be charitable in real life, but he's ready to do whatever it takes to win on the Traitors.
You have to go into the show, become almost a different personality. Everyone does, whether you're a traitor or a faithful, because in order to stay in the game, you need to be... It's like Big Brother, I suppose. You've got to have a personality which people want to be around. And again, it showed this episode, like, you know, straight away, if Corinne hadn't been voted off, there was already two people who clearly didn't like one another, and that was Annabelle and Corinne. Annabelle voted for Corinne voted for Annabelle, and they were completely... Obviously, Corinne exited, but, like, you could... Like, no one else had voted for the other one, if you know what I mean.
It was her own fault that she got voted off as well, because she just randomly voted for Annabelle out of nowhere.
Can we... just say random one of them all. Ian decided to vote for Peyton.
I know.
He just randomly voted for Peyton.
That actor comment really stuck with him.
No, not that. That was Gayton. Or was it Gayton? Guyton, sorry.
What?
I thought he voted for Peyton.
Oh, Peyton. Yeah,
Peyton.
sorry, yes, Peyton.
Not Gayton. Guyton.
You're right there.
No, I can't
too
do
many
names. Too many names. I need to get to about halfway when there's like 10 people and I can then settle down a little bit.
Yes, you did that random vote for...
I mean, Peyton was out there.
Peyton.
We all knew Peyton was out there, but there was no discussion of Peyton at all. The discussion was literally Sarah, Ellis...
Well, it proves that he doesn't follow the crowd, at least. So that could be a good
but again,
thing.
that's such a dangerous thing to
I
do,
know, because people think
Ian.
you're a traitor,
'Cause
maybe.
Ian, exactly. Whenever someone bucks a trend, everyone kind of questions why it's been bucked. Next episode, I'm telling you straight away, people... If people don't ask Ian, why did you vote for Peyton? Then I'll be very surprised. I get it, because his name was amongst the three. You know, between Sarah... Ellis and Peyton, they were the three people who were kind of like in the bag to begin with, but then he wasn't mentioned once at the round table.
No, but Ash, I feel she really wants to get rid of Sarah because... Is it Sarah? Yes, Sarah. Sarah has clocked Ash already as a traitor, and I feel that she is worried because for the second murder, it's left on... She was trying to push her as one of the murders, and the two guys were like, "No, we're not doing her."
But then she's not even up as one of the two.
That's what I mean. But I think Ash really wants her to go on because she thinks that's going to be the chink in her game. She gave her some looks on this episode. I was like, she wants you gone, Sarah. She schemed that whole thing for them to go on to her at the banishment, and it didn't quite work. So
I mean, Sarah, because Sarah's having to play a very defensive game at the moment, she's constantly having to reassure people. Annabelle, to be fair, smart.
She better not get murdered.
Well, yeah, but Annabelle was the only one who kind of openly defended Sarah and said, if she was a traitor, that's not how a traitor would act. And Annabelle would know because she's watched a lot of the series.
Yes.
She knows how people would act. So I think, in a weird way,
I have listened to every podcast that even briefly mentions the traitors.
There you go. So she's taking hints from us. So we know what we're doing. But it's like if you study something, then you are probably going to be the most knowledgeable to play it. So there's an argument to be had that Annabelle's, studied it very hard by watching a lot of the series.
I don't want her to be murdered.
Well, this is it. I mean,
why is it these two up for bloody murder?
Well, it's Ellis.
Yeah.
Ellis is being... Because they want to bring up suspicion
I'm not sure his
of
name's
Payton.
Ellis. Is it not Elias?
Elias. I'm so sorry,
I feel like
Ellis.
we're pronouncing it wrong, but it's fine.
Ellis, I apologise if I have for the whole episode pronounced your name wrong. But you do have lovely muscles, so,
Yeah, can't have it all.
Exactly. They want to vote him because it brings suspicion back to Peyton and Sarah and Annabelle. Annabelle, they said Annabelle was an obvious choice, and I feel like that's unfair.
They said it would really, throw a pigeon amongst the whatever. What's the phrase?
A cat amongst the pigeons.
They said,
A dog amongst the badgers.
they said it would do that because it would really be like, what? Because I think she's going to be quite a good gameplay, but I'm going to be so annoyed if she's murdered.
I don't think they should.
But I don't want
murder
either
her,
of them murdered. I don't want either of those two murdered.
Well,
yet.
obviously no, because obviously one's eye candy and one's adorable.
But which one? Who knows?
That's for you listeners to find out.
Haven't mentioned Keith, by the way. Why not?
Keith Chegwin. Because he looks like Keith Chegwin. No,
Keith's my favourite now.
Well, Keith is like the new Paul in my mind. Do you reckon Keith talked about the production a lot during the recording of the show? Keith,
Liam needs a bit more.
Liam's sweet, isn't he? He kind of just sits and looks a bit like a rabbit, and he's the rabbit in headlights one. He's the one who's kind of like, I think he's not quite warmed into it.
He'll be
just
recruited
yet.
one day as a traitor. I feel he's one of those.
This is it. This is what I'm saying. I think in the first 2-3 days, he's the one, because there's one in every series. He's the one who's kind of likable and gets involved with the groups, but still kind of is a bit shocked by it all. Can't quite get to the rhythm of it. He'll get his rhythm, and as soon as he does, he'll be really good at it. And then he'll get recruited by the traitors. That's our Luke.
Yeah. Luke, the guy from Survivor's a bit odd.
I think he's got a bit of a screw loose.
Yeah, he's into guns and killing people, whatever. Fear on the show, not in real life.
He's done 2 series of Survivor, though.
He has. I feel like he's doing good because he's watching, and I think he clocked a look between Ash and Sam around the round table, who are both traitors, and I think he noticed them looking at each other and smiling. So he's sitting there watching, and I think he's going to be a bit dangerous.
Luke's one of those that basically applies for... He clearly wanted to be a traitor, was disappointed he wasn't a traitor. And he's like the guy who's like at work and he went for the promotion, never got it, and now he's going out of his way to make sure the person who got that promotion is going to be destroyed. And that's what he's doing. He's now actively targeting anyone who is a traitor and wants them done for. But I think he won't be happy in this game until he becomes a traitor. And unfortunately for Luke, I don't think he will. But I also think that Luke will make it to the end.
Oh gosh, the end? No, he won't.
That's my prediction. He's played a lot of reality shows. He's played to a lot of people out there. Survivor is seen as the ultimate reality TV show because it's about tactics and gameplay. And that's what Traitors is about. And so, Luke is in a very, very strong position to, do well on this series. Look at the American series.
Ash has done a lot, hasn't she? Although they're not. She's done more reality shows.
Ash has done. Ash is the queen
Dancing
of reality television.
Yeah, I'm
a celebrity. Get me out of here. But then I thought you had to be a celebrity to do those to begin with. So what's she famous for before she did reality shows, or is she just famous? Is she just a reality star?
She became famous from being on My Kitchen Rules. That's how she burst onto our screens in 2015.
Like the egg.
So she must have became a celebrity person from that and then went on to all those other shows.
Oh, so she's basically famous for being famous then? No disrespect.
So she's famous for being
Good
on
for
My Kitchen Rules. I don't know what that show is.
No,
or
no
whatever.
idea.
And funny enough, we've got lots of time to talk about the rest of the contestants, but we have not talked about one, and we're not going to talk about him. We're just going to play a sound clip just to rub it in even more.
I'm going to be remembered for the blue shirt.
So, so we're ready for the murder. So it's either Annabelle or Elias.
Oh, do you want to talk about Corinne very quickly? Because you liked Corinne.
Oh yeah, she's gone, isn't she?
She got banished.
Well, I just like her because I like the sort of motherly women on these shows.
She reminded me of a
Always go
character.
too
She
fast.
reminded me of Liz from
Wentworth prison.
she a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, she got voted out 9 to. If she hadn't voted for Annabelle, so she almost stuck.
That's what I mean. It's her own fault.
She
Should we
stuck
do
it
her
in
fact
for
file
herself.
quick then?
Yeah, but if she hadn't voted and she'd voted for Sarah, it would have gone to a draw, and then they would have had to re-vote, and it would have been left for Ian and Annabelle to re-vote.
So she made her own fate. She's a nurse.
They would have been left for Ian to vote. Sorry, anyway,
She's a nurse / cattle station owner.
Why does everyone on the Traitors
Have two
two
jobs?
jobs?
Australia's a big place.
There's
a lot of jobs to fill.
Yes. Well, so everyone has to work 2 jobs in their lives. God.
Corinne may be one of the oldest contestants on the Traitors Australia, which is why I love her. But she's not about to let that get in her way. After all, she's a nurse and a cattle station owner. So she's no stranger to hard work and problem solving in stressful situations.
Imagine getting those jobs mixed up, and she starts tying up the patients like they're like livestock.
She likes swimming, mountain biking, cross-country running. She does all that in her free time and is up for any challenge.
What free time?
She was running behind everyone else up that mountain after that horse, I noticed.
Well, you're criticising her.
Oh, well.
She's maybe the oldest character on the Traitors Australia.
She's not a character, she's a contestant.
Sorry, a cast member.
If she wins the money and the silver, she wants to semi-retire. She'd then like to travel the country with her kids.
Her kids? How old are her kids?
Don't know.
In a camper van. That's my dream. That's what I would do. If I had a fact file put on me, it would be like I'd spend the money on a camper van for my cats.
So if she won, does that mean semi-retire? She's only going to get rid of one of her 2 jobs. I wonder which one she'd get rid of. Would she stop being a nurse or stop?
But you say she's
being
a
cattle?
A cattle.
person?
Surely she must own a farm then, and so she kind of has her own livestock.
I think she'll stop being
on
a
the
nurse
farm.
if she
Yeah,
won.
because her nurse is her occupation, but her livestock is probably her home. I think that's where that's going.
We'll never know.
I've just looked on the because Ben very kindly gets the photos of all the characters, all the cast,
Contestants, yes.
all the cast, and puts their name underneath, so I can keep.
Paul's a
an
hottie.
eye. We're not playing Who's a Hottie with Paul.
sorry.
Well, if we're going to talk about Paul really quickly.
Paul, oh my god, it's another Paul. I just realised.
Can I just describe how he described himself? I wrote it down because it cracked me up. He's a Navy bomb disposal officer who has had his arm eaten by a shark. Oh, you say that as if it's a normal,
That's a standard
everyday
story
thing.
in Australia, isn't
Is it really? A Navy?
Like,
no,
I got chased by a camel spider from the toilet.
why can't someone
That's all
just...
you hear about Australia. That's why I can't visit the country.
Don't they have like the 10 deadliest spiders in Australia?
Probably. And Paul's seen all of them off.
He's probably eaten them all. There's us in the UK, and we're just scared by the daddy long legs. And Australia's got hardcore stuff. Yeah, the Navy bomb disposal
looks like
officer.
they want to die.
There's a Navy bomb disposal officer. Fine, fair enough. That's a good. But then he adds on top of that, who had his arm eaten by a shark. I'm sorry, but can you not see
Well, a good story, I'd say that.
how much? That's insane to me. Am I the only one? Am I the only one who thinks that's crazy? Am I the only one? Apparently so.
Yes.
You're just sitting. Okay, fine.
I think why have you got your own fact file all of a sudden anyway?
I haven't. That's what Paul described himself as.
He's from Los Angeles.
Is it, well, there you go. He got his, maybe the shark in Australia, in Los Angeles. But he said because he kind of walked into the room, and a couple of people said, "Oh, I recognise you," and he said, "Oh, you probably recognise me because I'm a Navy bomb disposal officer who had his arm eaten off by a shark."
Well, he also lost part of his hamstring on his right leg as well.
The
Shark. 2009.
The same shark or a different
Yes.
shark?
Same shark, 2009 in Sydney Harbour.
That's insane.
In his entire right hand as well as the hamstring on his right leg.
He needs to be careful though, because the last time they had an amputee contestant on the Traitors, they thought she was a traitor because she moved the glass of water to her non-amputee hand. So he needs to be careful not to do that.
And they voted her out first, so that'd be a lesson.
I thought we weren't talking about who got voted when.
Well, you just mentioned her.
I didn't mention name or what series it was. So you told me off every time. But anyway, I was looking at your thing that you made with all the photographs. Yes. And Camille hasn't, I don't remember.
Who?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, there'll be plenty of time for us to talk about all the characters, all the contestants that we didn't meet. Because Hannah feels a bit blank at the moment. Camille's blank. Keith, definitely blank.
Roha?
Yeah. Not meant to talk about him.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Ruined the joke.
I'm going to be remembered for the blue shirt.
And there you go. So that's our episode of Faithful to the Traitors.
Yes.
Have you got anything else to say or add?
Well, I'd like to say that I hope you guys enjoyed listening.
Everyone looks like they want to die.
And I hope you don't want to die. I hope you all enjoyed it. You carry on the roller coaster ride with us, because we love chatting about the old traitors. If you want to join in with the conversation, we are on. Am I allowed to say X, or are we still dead naming it?
Twitter.
Okay. At Traitors Podcast on
Twitter.
X/Twitter. You can find us on Instagram at Faithful to the Traitors. I got a message on my personal Instagram saying that you can change accounts on Threads.
Can you?
Apparently so. Like through the app. I messaged them back. That's all they said to me. I messaged them back.
Who are they?
Well, because the official thread got said like, oh, we're doing updates all the time, blah blah blah, and I said, oh, please, can you put on the Threads app that you can change your profile from a professional to a personal?
We're running on time here, but carry on.
Okay. Yeah. Long story short, this person got in touch. I messaged them back, and they never got back to me.
Oh.
So once they get back to me,
why are you telling us then?
Because then I'll start the Threads account for
when
Faithful
you start
to the Traitors.
Threads account, tell us. But until then,
for now though, we're on Instagram at Faithful to the Traitors. If you want to send us a question,
looks like they want to die.
if you want to send us a question, or you want to get in touch, just say hello. If you're a new listener, or indeed an old listener, then you can email us, faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. And if you do enjoy the podcast, please, on your favourite podcast apps, give us 5 stars and do a comment, say why you enjoy listening to us.
And we're doing these weekly as they broadcast, so you can send emails and stuff, and we should have a bit more time for this series to actually talk to you.
Exactly, on the Australian, and I might as well say the New Zealand series as well.
Yes.
So that's happening coherently. Now, if you like listening to our podcast and you want to give us a little bit of a hand.
19 future podcasts no one ever asked for.
But you did ask for this podcast. We know you did. And
Roger.
Roger. And you want to, Ben's soundboard to be expanded even greater, so you can have because one day Ben's going to basically release a podcast when he's just pressing every single soundboard button, and we're just going to sit there and listen to it, and we're going to like it.
You tried to reduce my soundboard, and people got in touch in the droves to tell you to not say that. So.
Exactly. So if you want to give Ben an opportunity to expand his soundboard, or indeed you just want to support the show, then we do have a means for you to do so. Obviously it's not compulsory, but if you would like to throw us a little bit of change and say hello, then go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful, and you can donate the cost of a coffee toward the show.
Or a silver bar. Let's stay on theme here.
You can change it from one thing to the next. Shall I change it to a silver bar?
Yes.
Okay. Buy us a silver bar.
Yeah. We're faithful.
I believe
we're here to get the silver bars.
I believe it's the equivalent of $5. Don't quote me on that, but you can find out for yourself by going to buymeacoffee.com/faithful. Honestly, it would really help us out, and it would improve perhaps the state of the
production.
show. we might edit something.
I'm going to be remembered for the blue shirt.
No, we don't edit things here on this podcast. I press record twice, stop and start. And that's it. So you hit everything between us.
Well, exactly. You'll hear the conversation of me asking you whether
you want to join Threads.
You want to join Threads or not?
So yes, they can help us along if they want to. Only if you can afford to do it.
Absolutely. Please don't.
No pressure.
Don't do it if you can't afford it. And if you're under 18, I think I should also mention that if you're under 18, you need to ask permission from your parents before you can.
From your guardian, not
yes,
a parent.
or guardian or
Very
parent.
presumptuous.
Or the person who lives under the stairs. buymeacoffee.com/faithful.
Lovely. So there you go. So we're going to be back soon whenever the next episode airs. We don't know when it is or when we're going to be able to do it. But we'll find out who's murdered, who's banished. Hopefully it'll be a bit more of a calmer episode for episode 2. Lots of things happen this episode.
Hand eaten by a shark.
And hamstring.
I can't believe you're not completely overwhelmed by this. You're just sitting there quietly, just... okay. The Oscar music's begun.
That was another episode finished of Faithful to the Traitors. Do you want to say it?
Down
under.
No.